I am really seriously hoping this works. Not that I'm not enjoying doing the live streams. I'll probably keep doing those, but I miss just having videos ready to go. Alrighty, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is probably, if this works, this is going to be the first actual video of the year. I had all kinds of other things recorded and planned, but because of my computer has been acting up, I have been very hesitant to do anything too heavy as far as like editing and that requires too much of the video card and the graphics card or whatever. So, you know, I just want to prevent having to take the computer into the shop, considering I have so much work to do. But I'm going to go ahead and record this video, and hopefully I'll actually be able to edit it. The topic today is going to be on demos, talking about demos. So recently, not that long ago, before the end of last year, I think it was 3 or 4 months before the end of last year, I went and found someone to produce demos for me. Someone who had been doing it, who's been working in the industry longer, someone, a voice actor with more credits than me. Because even though I'm extremely confident in my own work, I wanted to find someone who, you know, basically get a second opinion. Basically, see if it actually did make a difference. I will say this, it cost $1,500. And that was not an easy decision to make. In fact, I'm still not sure if it's actually worth that much money, ever, to have demos done like that for that much nowadays. But I went ahead and did it, partly so I could do this video. Because I had been doing all my own demos for the longest time, and, you know, I seemed to have been having some pretty good success, but I did want to find someone else because I had been sending in demos and auditions and submissions to talent pools for things like Funimation and Crunchyroll, or not Crunchyroll, Sound Cadence and Bang Zoom and stuff like that. And hadn't really been getting anything back. Recently, I actually had gotten some auditions back from Funimation. But before then, I wasn't getting anything, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't because of my demos. So I went ahead and decided to find someone to help me produce them. And I will say this. I've gotten my second voiceover agent recently. Finally got some LA representation, and so I already had a voiceover agent in Texas, and now I have one in LA. And at first, I thought that the representation, the agency liked me because of the new demos. And then I looked back at the email and found out that I had sent them my old demos, the ones that I had made before paying $1,500. And so both voiceover agents that I have, actually, I think there's technically there's more people that I'm working with, but there's only 2 people that actually represent me. And all of it has been gotten through my old demos. I don't think I've actually gotten anything with the new demos yet, which is why I want to do a deep dive into this. I want to actually dissect this and do a really nuanced analysis. Now, I will say this. I'm going to go into this assuming that the demos that were produced that cost $1,500 are industry professional demos. This is what they're supposed to sound like. That's what I'm going to go into this assuming. And the the side-by-side comparison or the dissecting is really going to be not really dissecting the new demos that cost me a lot, but rather seeing how close my free self-produced demos actually got. Now, fortunately, there were some segments of the demos where it's essentially the same line and essentially supposed to be the same voice. It's just produced differently. So that's actually what we're going to be looking at. I'm not going to be doing a side-by-side of the commercial narration demos. I think those are very, very close, the way he produced them and the way I produced them. Very, very similar. I think the big difference is when it comes to the character or interactive demos. That's what we're going to be looking at. I'm going to have all of my demos actually at the end of this video if you want to actually listen to them, and it'll be labeled which ones are the professional 1,500 and which ones are the free ones that I did myself, that kind of thing. I'll have that. You can just listen to them and you can comment down below. But for right now, we're really just going to be dissecting small segments because otherwise we'll be here for, significantly longer. But due to the fact that I had actually helped people produce demos and they had actually gone on and gotten some representation using my demos, and I've gotten representation using my demos, I don't think that what I'm doing is actually technically wrong, but going into everything that I do, I assume that it could always be better. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So I'm going to kind of do a where can I improve kind of look, and then we'll also kind of dissect these. And I don't know, you guys let me know down below what you think, which ones are actually better, or which ones sound better to you, or what you're actually hearing, that kind of thing. Let's have this an open discussion, because these are the first actual demos I've ever actually paid anyone to make. And so I don't have a wide example. Like, I don't have a lot of experience with getting people producing my demos, and due to the fact that I haven't actually gotten anything with these demos yet, it's really hard to, compare them. But I really think it's interesting to show you guys the difference between what I do and the difference between this other person. I'm not going to name them just in case people don't like the demos. Again, like, you guys know me, I don't want to put anybody on blast. This is not criticizing their skills. In fact, I still believe that these are professional demos done more the way the industry, demos done in the industry and professionally are supposed to sound. So, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at these, and I'll kind of leave it up in the air. Let you guys just comment what you think. But here we go. Alrighty, so now we are here looking at the demos. As you can see, the one that I did is called Anime Voiceover Demo. It's not what I've named it in my Google Drive, but that was just so I could discern it from the other demos that I had. Normally, I'd put like a year behind it, whatever the year was. This was 2020, technically 2021, early 2021, I believe. But this was kind of more or less just rearranging a demo from 2020, just re-editing it. The only thing I've done, I haven't done any compression, anything like that to either of these. The only thing I've done is I've normalized them to -22 LUFS, just kind of the average loudness in these two clips. And these are the ones that we're looking at. There's essentially the same line, but mine up here is going to have a little bit more because I have kind of my regular voice followed by the one voice that has effects on the whole demo, which is kind of standard. And then down here we have the new demo, the one that cost $1,500. Well, technically this one cost $750 because there's a commercial demo and an interactive demo. So they both cost $750. Anyway, so we're going to listen to mine first, and then we're going to listen to the new one.
How holding out, Doc?
Ship hull integrity is holding strong at 90%. 12%.
So that was mine, and we're just going to go on to the next one, the second one. This is the new one.
Ship hull integrity at 25%. The 10%.
Yeah, as you can see, significantly shorter because we didn't do the captain stressed out guy at the beginning. I wanted one voice that was kind of closer to my regular voice. That's why it's very close to the beginning of the demo. So technically, there's really only like from here to here is where they actually match. I'm going to play those again, and then I'm going to tell you what I've noticed, and then we'll go from there.
How not, Doc?
Ship hull integrity is holding strong at 90%. 12%.
And then this one more time.
Ship hull integrity at 25%. The 10%.
Okay, so the first thing that I'm noticing as far as a big difference, I mean, other than the fact that it's not two people talking, the new demo, the one that costs $750, that is just one voice, one character, one set of lines. It's not an interaction. That's the first thing. I don't know if there's anything against that. I've heard tons of professional demos that have where it's two characters talking. I wouldn't do that for every single segment. I wouldn't do that for every single bit. I don't really see anything wrong with that as long as it's well written. The next thing that I would say is there are no effects on the new, more expensive demo. There's no effects. In fact, I don't think he put any effects on any of the voices. Even though he also agreed when we were talking about this that there's usually like one voice that you can get away with putting effects on, but I don't think he put any effects on any of them. So that's one thing. It's more clear that this is supposed to be a robot in my version, as opposed to in this one, it could be just, an alien, it could be a guy, it could be a robot, but it's not clear. So it doesn't paint that picture. The next thing that I'd say is the bass is kind of high on mine. Way more crunchy and way more crackly when it comes to the explosions, as opposed to this one, which I think that's the explosion. Yeah, it's just like a single. Now, so here's what I'm assuming. I haven't talked to him, but here's what I'm assuming the general rule is. First of all, even though you can hear pretty much every single word and every single syllable in my version, it's a lot clearer in this version what's being said. There's a lot more of the subtlety of the voice that can be heard.
Ship hull integrity at 25%. The 10%.
So there's a lot more of the full range of that voice that can be heard. Even though up here, the loudest competing sounds are in a different frequency than the voice. It's like the low bass explosions, supposed to sound like it's stuff outside, as opposed to the voice, which is higher register. And so there's not really competing. They're on completely different planes. So there's not competition. That's one thing that you definitely have to make sure is that in your demo, when you pick sound effects and music, that it's not competing with the voice. Sorry. I did some Gilbert Gottfried screaming the past couple of days, so a little bit of whininess in the back of my throat. But yeah, so that's definitely one of the first few things that I've noticed. And the music is also a lot more subtle in his version.
Ship hull integrity.
In fact, it's barely there.
25%. The 10%.
There's just a little bit of kind of a bass, kind of a guitar, or drums in the background, a little bit, very, very faint, as opposed to mine, which you can clearly hear the music.
How not, Doc?
Ship hull integrity is holding strong at 90%.
There's a lot more. It's almost more like an orchestra of strings in the background. Ultimately, I don't think, like, if you're producing a demo that's very similar to mine, my suggestion would be to definitely make sure that your music and your sound effects are much, much lower. than mine. Much more like this one, where it's very subtle.
Ship hull integrity at 25%.
You know, not overpowering, not too much. But to be honest, there's not that much different between his version and mine. Really, the only big difference is there's less explosive bass in the background. He's not painting as clear of a picture of what's going on in this interaction because it's a demo. It's not a radio play. And there's less of the effects on the voice. In fact, there's no effects on the voice. I mean, for the most part, that's pretty much it. There's not a lot that's different, technically, between what I've produced and what he produced. Now, I will say this. It is very, very possible that I accidentally made a good demo. It is very possible that I've accidentally made a good demo that was good enough to get me representation. Because if you were to ask me why I did every little thing in every single bit, I probably wouldn't give a clear answer. Most of the time it would just be, it felt right to me. I wouldn't be able to explain it in detail. I'm sure he would be able to. He'd be able to break it down in a lot more, nuance. But yeah, that's it. There wasn't really like a point here, other than I wanted to kind of showcase a free self-made demo versus not really versus, but compared against a $1,500 demo. Mostly just because I wanted to show that, mostly to myself, where kind of the bar is and how close I got. I would suggest that you kind of do the same if you're self-producing demos. But if you don't know how to self-produce demo, if you don't know how to make demos at all, definitely find someone else to make them for you. But if you are self-producing your own demos, do something like this. Find another demo that you know was made by a professional with professional experience, professional gear, professional tools, that was expensive, and compare them. Find similar bits, find similar segments, find similar, parts, and compare them. Find out how close you're getting. Because until we actually analyze what we've done, until we've actually dissected what we've done, it's not always clear how far we might have missed the mark. Sometimes we think that we did amazing just because we have nothing to compare it to. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to do this. I had nothing to compare it to. My voice has never been put together in a professional demo other than what I had made. So I didn't know what the difference was. One thing that I'll definitely say, and this is something that I've kind of changed my workflow since then, is I don't use as much compression or EQ. Basically, a lot more of what comes out of my mixer is more or less raw, and then I just kind of do basic cleanup, and that's kind of it. I don't do nearly as much. And one thing that I will say that I've noticed is a lot of my old demos, my earliest demos, it was overcompressed. And every demo, since then is less compressed, less compressed, less compressed. So, it was a slow, natural, gradual process. And it's possible that that could be the same thing for you, that you're just overcompressing it, that you're finding good music, you're finding good sound effects, but it could be that they're too loud. And it could be that maybe you don't need to put vocal effects on that particular voice. Maybe you don't need to use vocal effects at all. Maybe it's better that you just leave it dry. That could be it. But what you need to do is you need to take your demos and you actually need to sit them side by side with professional demos and really look it over with a very crucial, critical eye and really kind of, look at it with the idea that maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Because you definitely don't want to because who knows? Maybe you do know what you're doing. Maybe you do make really good demos. It is possible, but you don't want to get in the mindset of thinking that you're doing an amazing job and you're blind to the fact that you're not. You always want to be open to the possibility that you're making mistakes. You always want to be open to the possibility that someone else could absolutely do this better than you. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to to do this, is I wanted to make sure that it wasn't all me, that it wasn't the fact that I was doing everything wrong, that I wasn't producing demos poorly. I wanted to make sure that it was my skills as a voice actor and that were being on display, and it wasn't my lack of experience making demos that was holding that back. That's what I wanted to make sure. So, yeah, that's going to be it. Again, I'm going to be playing all of my demos one after another at the very end of this video. You guys can comment, review, react, whatever, in the comment section, what have you. I hope this was an eye-opening experience. I hope this taught you guys something. I know I've learned some stuff listening to my demo, my multiple demos over and over and over again. And who knows, maybe now I'll be able to make some killer demos on my own for myself. Who knows? But yeah, it's gonna be it. And until next time, peace.